Back outside Gillette Stadium, everybody. My name is Mike Petraglia, joined as always by Patriots expert columnist for WEEI.com, Christopher Price. Chris, we both have windbreakers on. You know why that is? Because it's darn windy out here. And it's one thing that Bill Belichick, after the third and final day of minicamp here outside Gillette Stadium, made note of. He said it was great to have the wind because it really adds that extra element of surprise to both the passing game and the kicking game. And Chris, some of your observations from today's passing game and the kicking game.
Well, I think I agree with you. And I think, first of all, it's a good opportunity to see players under different circumstances a little bit. We didn't get any rain this week, thank goodness, but there was some wind today, and I think it played a little havoc every so often with the passing game, with the kicking game. We saw a couple guys muff some punts. Cyrus Jones, after a pretty good week, or first couple days anyway, dropped a punt. And so I think it was a good test for some of the special teamers. It was also a good test for the passing game because we saw the wind impact the passing game from time to time as well. So in terms of giving guys a little bit of a different look when it comes to the weather conditions, it was a good opportunity today.
There was no fight, Chris, at the end of practice like there was between Woodrow Hamilton and Brian Stork at the end of practice on Wednesday. Thursday, pretty uneventful in terms of the tempers. Everybody, I think, happy to just get through the third and final day of minicamp. There is scheduled to be an OTA next week, as Bill Belichick made reference to. He did not go into the details of why they decided to do this minicamp in the middle of the OTA sessions. Kind of unusual, but the Patriots did get through it. There was a report that Michael Williams, the tight end from last year, Jim McBride from the Boston Globe reporting that a source had reported that he had torn his ACL. Bill Belichick afterwards said, when I asked him, he said, we're not required to offer injury reports at this time. But what might that mean to the competition at the third and fourth tight end spot?
It's going to give the guys who are at the back end of that depth chart right now an opportunity to move up. You're going to see more opportunities for guys like Clay Harbor, maybe A.J. Derby as well. So it's going to be interesting to see how it impacts the game plan going forward. But I think everyone on that depth chart is going to get a chance to move forward. One really interesting thing about Mike Williams is the fact he does have some positional versatility. Started as a tackle, does have some tackle experience, has played some tight end as well. So they love guys with that sort of versatility. But again, right now, I think the guys who are going to stand to benefit the most from a situation like this, maybe an A.J. Derby, maybe a Clay Harbor, again, those guys are going to move up the depth chart.
I also had the chance to ask Bill Belichick about how good the receiving corps has looked without Julian Edelman and without Danny Amendola. To your point about the tight ends, some of the wide receivers have really stepped up. Aaron Dobson and Malcolm Mitchell. Malcolm Mitchell spoke after practice at length, and so did Aaron Dobson. I want to get your takeaways.
I think Aaron Dobson had maybe the best 3 days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, of any extended period I've ever seen him here in camp. When you're talking about training camp, obviously we don't get a chance to see them for an extended period over the course of the year. But right. Aaron Dobson, out of the entire group of positional players, the skill positional players, right. Aaron Dobson did the best job taking advantage of the opportunities that were given to him this week, because we didn't see a number of the high-level skill position guys out there. The Edelmans, the Gronkowskis, the Amendolas, the Deion Lewises. Aaron Dobson did well to be able to catch almost everything that was thrown in his direction. Chris Hogan, I thought, was another guy who distinguished himself as someone who caught everything that was thrown in his direction. Another guy, you mentioned Malcolm Mitchell. I think Malcolm Mitchell did as well as could be expected this time of year. I was really struck by the level of chemistry that he had with Jacoby Brissett. So those three guys, for me, the wide receiver position, Aaron Dobson, Malcolm Mitchell, and Chris Hogan, all played very well this week.
And I also think it was very interesting that Malcolm Mitchell, a rookie out of Georgia, got a chance to speak to us after this minicamp, because usually you don't get the opportunity to speak to a rookie after a minicamp in the Bill Belichick era. But Malcolm Mitchell is certainly showing that he deserves some media attention, and I think he's handling it very well. Chris, before we get blown off the field here, I want to make reference to the fact that Tom Brady looked, I think, in the first 2-minute drill towards the end of practice, a little shaky. I thought the wind really affected him, but he really recovered nicely and finished strong.
Yeah, I agree with you too, and I think it's also worth mentioning here that in terms of quarterback reps over the course of the week, a lot of questions about whether or not they're going to work more with an eye toward giving Jimmy Garoppolo more reps, with the understanding that, hey, he may be the starter for the first 4 games of the season. In my experience, these last 3 days, Brady got the majority of the reps. Garoppolo was second. Jacoby Brissett was third. So it's no real surprise in that regard. But I do think Brady looked, again, you talk about guys who can well as could be expected at this time of year. I think Brady, given the fact that he did not have a lot of his traditional offensive options, again, the Edelmans, the Gronkowskis, those guys out there, I thought he had a good week.
All right. I think the Mother Nature is giving us our cue to wrap it up here. That'll do it for minicamp outside Gillette Stadium. He is Christopher Price. I'm Mike Petraglia, WEEI.com.